The last of our family of action queries is probably the most dangerous one. This is the delete query. The delete query will delete any data that you tell it to, which in essence could be absolutely everything in your tables. So it is a query to use with care, but just like the other action queries, it has its uses and its means. So how do we see and make use of a delete query? Well, just like the others, the safest thing to do first is to create a select query that actually selects the records you would like to delete. So if I were interested in tidying up my sales table and getting rid of some of the older sales, then firstly, I would create a select query. So let's create query in design based on my sales table. Let's have a look at all the sales and filter out those where the sales date is older than January 2012. So the 1st of January 2012. When I click out of the criteria, we can see that Access puts the familiar hashes on the date. And when I do a view, I can see that that then encompasses 487 sales, all of which will be in 2011 or before. So those are the sales I would like to get rid of. All I need to do now is go back into design and change this query into a delete query. So I choose the delete query option here from the Query Tools Design ribbon. We see in the query grid here, the delete has a where option all the way across the fields that I'm looking at, but there's only a criteria in the sales date. So when I view, it shows me all the records that I will now be deleting, which is the same ones I saw in the select query. Now let's just save this before we run it, so you can see how it looks in the navigation pane. So query delete old sales. Okay. You can see that it appears with the now familiar black exclamation mark to say I'm an action query, but a red cross to indicate that I'm a delete action query. So when I now run this query, it tells me it's about to delete 487 rows. Now remember, deleting data from an Access table is not an undoable option. So yes, and 487 rows are then gone from my data. What I will now find, if I try to view what this query might delete, there's actually no data because we've just deleted it. So this query can stay in my list and it's going to delete any sales that are pre-January the 1st, 2012, and I can run that whenever I feel fit, and it will always delete any data that now meets this set criteria. So let's close and save that. Now we're going to look at another delete query. Same process is followed. Create, design query, looking at the data you wish to delete, which is actually all of my customers that live in Australia. The Australian country ID is 7, and when I view, I can see that these are all Australian customers. Now, although I can only see 3 of the fields, with the delete query, the whole record is deleted. So let's change this into a delete query. And it's going to delete where the country region name is equal to 7. Save, QRY, delete Australians. Okay, that then appears in my list. Little black exclamation mark and a red cross to indicate I'm a delete query. If we then close that, I can run this from here. So remember that double clicking a query will run it. Now, if that's a select query, that's fine. It just re-extracts the data for you to look at. With an action query, it will rerun the action of that query. So this is the delete query. Double click. You're about to run a delete query. Are you sure you wish to proceed? Yes, I am. And then I've got another step to back out here, which is the delete. Are you sure? 3, 5, 8, 9 rows will go from the specified table. So I can still back out at this stage by saying no, but if I'm sure, I say yes. And then told we can't actually delete one of the records due to key violations. Now this is thankful in that we enabled referential integrity. That referential integrity is protecting this one record from being deleted because there are sales associated with this customer. So if I click yes, it will delete the records except this one. So we know that the Australian customers have now been deleted. Just to check that that's occurred, we'll have a look in the TBL customers, and we can see that the grand total is now 15,210 instead of our normal 18,500. And we should find, if we go across to the country region, do a sort, that there is only one Australian customer, and that was the one that I was unable to delete because of the referential integrity, because of the table sales holding some sales information for this particular person. But there are no more Australians but that one. So you can see that the delete query has taken away the correct number of records that it told us it was going to. And don't forget that that is a not undoable action. So you cannot get those records back once they have been deleted. So that's the delete query. Very fast, very dangerous, but very useful. Same process as with all the other action queries. Create a select query first so you can see the data that will be affected before you then change it into the kind of action query that you require, whether that's to delete, append, update, or make table.